Hey everyone, what's going on? Hopefully everyone can see me tonight. What's up? Hopefully everyone can see me tonight. All righty. So we got a lot of stuff going on tonight. We've got stuff to talk about. Guests coming on. Five and five is going to happen. All right. So let's start with, while we're waiting for the channel to populate a little bit here, let's start with some greetings and hellos. Papa Rhino. Yes, I am ready to do this, brother. Always. Gonzo, my man, brother, and my main moderator. Jay Evans, thank you, sir, for coming on. I know you're standing by to do 5 and 5 for me. Kick off that first edition. Michael Morgan, my new mod, yes, sir. Thank you. So we got here David Iverson. What's going on, brother? Will B. What's up, Will? All right. Cool. We got some people. That's cool. All right. Native Wild Man. I'm in there too. Laura Gillespie. What's up? Napster Ninja, how you doing, brother? Ed Harrison. Hope you're feeling better, Ed. Jury duty. Oh man, I hate that. That's the worst, Napster Ninja. I've only gotten out of it a couple times. I've been stuck with it a couple times too. All right. Who else we got joining in here? Quillen. Good evening, Quillen. Copperlight Steve. Howdy, brother. All right. We'll let a few more people crawl in here. What we got in here right now? We got 18 people. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Considering we've only been live for a couple of minutes. So now that I got a few of you in here, first of all, thank you all very much for tuning in to the second episode, the second episode of season 1, as I'm calling it, of my live streams. Thanks for spending a little time with me tonight. Got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have some fun. Of course, there'll be story time and a few other things going on. Dark Gravity, what's up, my man? I'm people identify as a dragon. Well, then, for you, brother. Yes, happy Tuesday, man. Happy Tuesday. There we go. I got to remember to put comments up there. What else we got going on here? Gonzo, Mimo, Quillen. All right. Well, I'm just going to jump in and get started. I don't know who else has joined the stream. I know we had a lot of people here last week. Not everybody piled in right at once. So I'll just go ahead and get going with this a little bit. That's right. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Stephen Wallace. Much appreciated, brother. So I got a couple shout outs to do for this week. I want to give a big shout out to Cue Ball. Cue Ball, I'll get into this a little bit later in the broadcast, but Cue Ball has been fantastic. Some of you may know that we had an Arizona knife meetup this past Saturday. That went awesome. I'll talk a lot about that as we get going. I also want to shout out Satu Dave for a few different reasons, but mainly because he had this awesome knife giveaway that he did, and I won. I was one of the people who won, and I won a ZT 0562 tie, which is basically ZT's Hinderer. So that was really cool. I don't know what's been going on lately, but I have won 3 giveaways in the last 2 weeks. I won OCD for EDC's giveaway. I won that one, which was a small one, mostly swag and some cool little side items. And then I won the third prize in O-Tips giveaway. So that's 2. And then the other night I won Satu Dave's giveaway of what is basically a dream knife for a lot of people, right? So at least it is for me. It's one of mine. So 3 giveaways in the last couple weeks. I went out and bought lottery tickets this week. So my wife joked and said that I had to purchase them this week. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. That's a big stretch from winning a couple of knives. But anyway, a big shout out to my brother Satu Dave. Great guy. We had a blast when we met up this past weekend. I didn't know until just recently that he lived here where I live in Arizona, just about 25 minutes away from me. So that's really cool. And big shout out to him. And then finally, Mattisfaction. I can't skip the live stream this week without shouting out to Mattisfaction. Like Cue Ball, he's been super helpful. You guys don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that has gone on behind the scenes. Matt's been awesome and very, very helpful with all that stuff. So, hey, I want to give a big shout out to Mattisfaction. Tri-State EDC, what's up, brother? Checking out my live stream. All right, man. Blades Hook Daniel, what's going on? Good evening. So let's jump into a few other things real quick while we're waiting for some more folks to show up. So we have a new moderator this week in the channel. Obviously, everyone knows that Gonzo basically volunteered to be my head moderator for the channel. But Michael Morgan, also known to you folks in the community as Mimo, is going to be my second moderator for the channel every week. He's stepped up and agreed to take on that role. So thank you, Mimo. Much appreciated, brother. There will be a guest tonight, as well as the 5 and 5. I've already got somebody lined up, and they're already in the chat waiting for the signal to come in and do the 5 and 5. So if some of you weren't here last week, like Tri-State and a few other folks, what I'm going to do on my channel that's different than what happens typically on a lot of live streams is I'm going to do something every week called 5 and 5. So I'm going to give anybody in the channel, in the live stream, the opportunity each week to come on stage. They don't have to show their face, but what they're going to do is they're going to show 5 knives that they have in their collection, any 5 knives they want, any price point, it doesn't matter. They're going to show those knives and just tell us what they are and show them to us so we can see them. And the reason I came up with this idea was because I love seeing all the knives when we do pocket checks. And I always think to myself, man, that's a great knife. I wish I had that, or I wish I could see that knife. Or, wow, that knife's really cool too, man. I'd love to see that, right? So I want to give people the opportunity to come on and show off their knives each week. And I think it'll help the stream be a little interactive. People can get a chance to come on. They don't have to talk other than to tell me what their knife is and explain what model it is, and then just kind of flip it open and show us both sides and show it off a little bit. And obviously, I'm not going to cut anybody off right at 5 minutes if it takes you a little longer. But this week, to kick things off, we got somebody who has a lot of cool, super cool knives, and you've probably seen him show and tell his knives on Instagram. We have Jay Evans, also known thanks to Tri-State as Juvan. So he'll be on a little later, a little bit further on in the broadcast. So let's see who else I'm missing up here. We got Marcos Gamos. What's up, brother? Let's see who else we got in here. I know we got a couple other people that stepped in. What's up, Steve? I think I already greeted Ed Harrison, so that's cool. Park graphic. Guest stripper. No, there will be no guest strippers tonight. There will be some naked knives probably, but there will be no guest strippers. We're also going to talk about fully deployed here as we move through the broadcast. So my guest for tonight is not yet in the stream, but I think he will be. That's right. That's right. Juvan, brother Juvan. Cool. So let's see what we got here. I got knives to show. I got a lot of stuff going on. All right. Papa Rhino. All right. So since we only got about 20-something people in the stream, we're going to go ahead and get the pocket. I'll throw money at the TV if we get a stripper in here. You don't want to see me stripped, Gonzo. No. So let's do a quick pocket check, everyone. I'll go ahead and show you what I got in my pocket while you guys put up your pocket checks. First of all, thanks to Satu Dave, who was kind enough to part with one of these, I am carrying a ZT 0452 tie. There it is. Beautiful knife. It's got a few little modifications. The blue anodizing is gone in favoring of raw tie on the pivot and the pocket clip on the back of the knife. This is using Carpenter's CTS 204P powdered metal, very similar to M390 and 20CV. Beautiful, beautiful knife. I mean, man, this is a amazing little knife here. And Dave was nice enough to part with this. In fact, he gifted this knife to me very recently. So again, shout out to Satu Dave for that. I had been wanting one of these for a while. They are no longer available. So thank you, Dave. Let's see what else we got here. We got, in the small pocket, we got Civivi Elementum. We got Victorinox. Classic SD, right? Got to have one of those. Never know when you're going to have to pull out a sliver, right? Or hand it to somebody who doesn't know how to use knives and say, here you go, right? I'm certainly not going to hand him a ZT, a tie ZT to cut open the box. And then today I happen to be carrying the small but fierce, the Olight 1R IR D2. A little 180 lumen pocket torch. So that's what I got. Let's see what else you guys got, man. Let's see what's going on here in the comments. Anybody put up their knives yet? So Ed Harrison, he's the first one in the group. So let's see. He's got a Hogue Deca. He's got an Angry Watermelon and a Streamlight Wedge. Perfect. Cool. So Jay, whoa, that just jumped a little bit. It kind of caught up, I guess. So Jay Evans has the Quist variant PE. Nice. Very nice. I did not get in on that. I kind of was hoping to, but I didn't. Let's see. He's got the Quist variant PE with fresh titanium scales and a CJRB Mallory small Centros. That small Centros is on my list. That's a cool knife. I have the big one, which I had some issues with, but the small one I think is really a cool looking knife, and I'm hoping to add that to my collection very soon. Nice carry. Gonzo's carrying the Axon frame lock, triple R1 arm razor, Forest Tank, and a Lancelot wallet. Very nice. Hey, you got some EDC roundtable stuff going on there. Cool. Laura Gillespie, Doc's Point today, so has to keep the pockets light with Angry Watermelon, Spyderco Bug, and a Kubi Chubby. Nice. That's a cool carry. Napster Ninja's got a Benchmade 671 tie mono lock. Michael Morgan, my man. Today's carry, Hogue EX01 button lock, 4-inch, Tanto blade, with green G maskets. Oh, nice. That's nice. I have an EX01 and an EX03, both excellent knives. And a new Otter Messer large sod buster in carbon steel and smoked oak handle. Wow, that sounds really cool. Very cool. Let's see. Up Rhino, Howdy Beanpole. Come on now. Come on now. Cole is spelt. Okay. David Iverson, wow, he's got a whole bunch of stuff here. Honey Badger Large Tanto, Benchmade Proper, Leatherman Skeletool CX, Hinder Investigator Pen, Victorinox Alox Pioneer X, an Olight I1R Pro, that's nice, a little brighter. An i5R tie, very nice. I love the i5, great light. And a Forest Colorful Card Tank, awesome. Let's see what else we got here. We got Native Wildman. He's carrying a Cold Steel American Lawman Mini, QSP Leopard K-Bar Hunter, 4-inch, an RR Mini Peanut. Yes, yes, yes. Tri-State. Oh, I was carrying an EMP EDC Nimble Tanto, the Warney Tech prototype, and the Chevalier. Awesome, really nice. I got a EMP Nimble over here to show off in a few minutes. Very cool, my man. Very cool. Appreciate you coming in, checking out the live too, brother. Let's see. Blades Hook Daniel. I have my Spyderco Schmock and a Boker Fragment. There's Papa Rhinos. Kershaw Scallion and a Becker BK16 with custom micarta scales. Very nice, sir. I have my work carry with me today. Hinder XM24 Bowie, big knife. I just handled one of those at the meetup the other day. Spyderco PM2. Ooh, we got comments coming out all over the place. With titanium scales, Concept, pre to tout, Sabivi, Chevalier, Streamlight, Macro Stream, every man Grafton pen. Oh, nice. That's a cool pen. Let's see, Marcus Gamos, how is that Chevalier at Tri-State or Chevrolet? yeah, it's basically pronounced the same, right? Chevalier. I can't talk tonight. Stephen Walls is carrying a Petrified Fish Scholar Warrior Mini 2 with a downrange Hank and a Zippo lighter. Nice. I got a couple Zippos. We're back in the old days. Bang Bang, what's up, brother? Bang Bang. Let's see. Who else? Anybody else putting up their pocket carry? There is. Bang Bang's got a bug out with Flytanium scales. Nice. Smash that like button, folks. That's right. Hit the like button. Help me out there. All right. So what do we got, man? What's the stream got? It's got almost 30 people in here. Nice. So the next thing I was going to talk about was the meetup. So I think most of you guys know, I'm pretty sure that you know that we had a little Arizona knife meetup on Saturday. We've been planning that for a while. It was Cue Ball, who hosted at his house in Phoenix. He lives in Southern Phoenix. And Mattisfaction, who lives in Northwest Phoenix, came down. And then Satu Dave and I picked up Dave, and we drove up from Tucson, where we both live. And we drove up there and met up for the afternoon. Again, huge props to Cue Ball for sharing his house. If you haven't seen the picture, go on my Instagram account and take a quick look at that. There was an entire table full of knives, and that wasn't even everything we had in the house. We had 2 huge Pelican boxes on the floor that were full of knives that we didn't even get to go through. And that isn't even all of Cue Ball's collection and what stuff that we brought. So it was crazy. I do have to say that, what do we got here? Native, I missed somebody. So Native Wild Man, I will add a Cold Steel Leatherneck SF this weekend or Friday. Cool, very nice. I would think that's a cool thing for you with all the fishing and stuff you do. You're always near the lake. That would make a lot of sense. Oh yeah, Tri-State. That's right. I saw the video. You are currently rocking the Urban Nessie, EDC Nessie. Nice. Let's see. Dark Gravity says he's got a Strider SNG PM2 Maximet. Nice. With Frog Titanium scales, Tag Heuer Aqua Racer, Tactile Turn Slim, Olight i3T EOS Titanium. Very nice. That's a nice carry, Dark Gravity. So anyway, the meetup. Let me get back to that. We got there about 2 o'clock. We started looking at knives around 2:30, and before you know it, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. Time flew by. It was super, super cool to do that. First of all 3 of those guys are fantastic individuals. I mean, Cue Ball opened up his home to us without ever having met us, even though he knew us a little bit from online. Dave, I didn't even know. My brother Dave, that I've talked to online many, many times, that he lived right across town. So we talked on the way up. We had a good time. We guesstimated there had to be probably like 15 grand worth of knives there easily on that table, and what we had on the floor. Just what Dave brought with him was probably, a couple $1,000s worth of knives. So it was super cool. The coolest part of that, if you guys get to do it, I highly recommend it, because the coolest part of that is not just meeting all the guys and gals. If women obviously show up at these too, but it wasn't just getting to know them and being able to talk readily back and forth, but like, we got to handle so many knives. If you walk in a knife store, you always have to be like, can I look at this? Can I look at that? Can you take that out of the case? Can you take that off the shelf and show it to me? Like here, you could just take a whole bunch of knives, stick them in front of you, and just start flicking them open and seeing how they fit. It was amazing. We had such a good time. There were some knives I picked up that I was really interested in, and I went, nope, too small for me, too big for me, doesn't deploy the way I like. So it was fascinating. fascinating. And I don't think I got through everything on the table. I probably did about maybe 60% of the knives you saw in that picture. And it was just super crazy. So we had a great time, and the meetup was super, super successful. So I was really happy about that. Like I said, Dave actually gifted me a knife that I've wanted for a long time that they don't actually make anymore. You can still find it in new old stock, but they don't actually make this knife anymore. And I've been talking to him about it, and he basically gave me the knife. That's the kind of guy Dave is. So again, this community is fantastic. Big shout out to all you folks. So one of the topics I want to bring up tonight in a few minutes is I want to talk about expensive knives that are all the way up to around $2,000 or more versus, say, the $300 to $500 knives. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes. I did want to throw one thing out here real quick about the meetup. Cue Ball loaned me a bunch of knives. I'm going to show you a few of those in a little later. And Matt loaned me a knife as well. He loaned me a Kunwu Ronin. So if anybody out there, if any of you folks in the stream over here, or any of your friends have a Kunwu Ronin and you want to sell it, you're willing to part with it, get a hold of me. I held that knife. I played with that knife for a few minutes. Matt does not want to sell his. Obviously, I know why. But if anybody actually has one of those knives, please get a hold of me. Or you know somebody who has one and is willing to part with it. Hit me up, okay? Eionan'sEdge@gmail.com. Everybody knows my email. It's basically the name of my channel at Gmail. Let's see who else we got. The Sobex Scooter. So Sobex, you have incoming. I put your stickers in the mail this morning. All right. So those, you should see those probably, I don't know, maybe early next week or something. Let's see what else we got back here, man. I think I missed some comments while I was talking. Got to get used to that. Let's see. No, I don't think so. Freak Show, you're going to do next week's 5 and 5, buddy. Okay. Contact me by email. Hit me up. You volunteered to do one. I'm going to have you do next week's 5 and 5. So let me remember here how I bring somebody into the studio. Boom. Okay, I think I got this. So Jay Evans, here you go, my man. Here's a link to come on in. We're gonna do we're gonna set him up and do the 5 and 5 here. So Juvan is gonna come in and he's gonna show us some cool knives, and we're gonna check them out. And then I'm gonna get to story time. That's always fun. Everybody likes that. Hopefully you can see that. There is a link there. There we go. It's there. Cool. Papa Rhino says, my most expensive knives are guns. That's true, man. I've got some of those PPUs myself, and they ain't cheap. They are not cheap, my friends. Okay. So I'm going to get him on stream here. I'm going to add him up on the stream, and I'm going to change the format. What's up, brother?
How's it going? Can everybody hear me?
It's going really good, man. So Stacy Bolsterblades, what's up? So I really appreciate that you jumped on this right away and decided that you wanted to help out and do the first one, because obviously I think everybody here has seen you flicking knives for forever on Instagram, and that's really your thing. It's really cool, and I know you're one of the few people I can just watch flick knives all day. So that makes me really happy that you're the first person to come on and do this.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I won't miss a chance to talk about knives. And you're doing a great job. I've really enjoyed your stream and look forward to Tuesday nights with you, Monday nights.
Cool, man. I really appreciate that. So without further ado, he's going to show you how we're going to do this. Now, just remember, folks, if you email me and you want to come on and do 5 and 5, you don't have to show your face. It's not necessary. I know a lot of people don't want to come on the streams because they don't want to be seen live, but that's okay. You don't have to do that. I just need to know what knives you got and just show them to the camera. So if you want to, show a desktop view or something like that, that's fine. But since you're already on camera like that, you don't have to, mess up your camera or anything like that. Just go ahead and give us the 5 and 5, sir.
Yeah, and you just cut me off because I get to chatting too long. But what I had to do is go through my collection and find what I wanted to do is find 5 knives that made me really happy, that I enjoyed, that, I could multiply that out. But number one would go without saying, the ProTech Malibu. I love this knife so much. I have it 2 times. This is the textured handle, but the action's great. It cuts great. The detent's great. USA made. Just a perfect knife. It is a win. So that is number 5.
And that's a pretty popular knife. A lot of people have that high on their list.
It is, and I had it high on my list for, I'd almost say, a year, and they do become available. All you have to do, like I've seen lefties say time and time again, set your goal and look for it. Dark gravity is a big one to point that out. You will find it. There are a lot of people that are getting rid of good knives, and you can find a lot of new knives. But speaking of lefty and influencers, my number 2 knife that I brought out tonight is the Liang Ma Field Duty EDC.
Oh, nice.
This is probably, in terms of knives, in flicking knives, my favorite knife. The sound, the detent, the blade shape, the ergo.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's really a hard knife to beat for an EDC knife. The clip's good. The lock bar pressure is non-existent. You can get all over it anywhere you want and flip it. But just a fantastic knife.
Very cool.
And the Liang Ma liner locks that are coming out are going to make things more available. And Liang Ma has a budget line coming out that he launched at, was it Blade Show with Christine?
Yes.
They look fantastic. Probably the most excited I've been about a budget knife.
Cool.
Then I'm going to jump into.
What you got for me?
I got number 3, which is a little bit different. It's a play on a Spyderco Sage, or Maximate. I'm sorry, Manix 2.
Yep.
This is a knife, the Nice Inner exclusive crew wear. It was all black G10, but I got the I was just looking at them, the rock scale design scales that are titanium graphite. And what's cool about the titanium graphite scales is they do away with the need for those jagged liners that are on the Manix 2. A lot of people love the liners. I'm not knocking the liners, but by using the rock scale design scales, you do away with those liners. The knife becomes thinner. It becomes much smoother in the hand, and it's become one of my favorite Spydercos.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not a fan of I call them the shark tooth liners. I like something like that, or G10's a lot better. And
yeah, I'd read or seen nightmare videos about Spyderco Manix mods, and that one was really easy. Mine was lucky. My spring came out easy. I replaced the hardware and also replaced the little ball cage lock. But number 4, it's hard to say that the Field Duty is my favorite knife because everyone who's handled it loves the nimble.
Right.
And this knife, I mean, fidgetability, the detent's not quite as snappy as the Liang Ma, so that maybe puts it really higher than the Liang Ma because I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. It's a small knife, but it holds and carries and uses like a big knife. So this is fantastic. I'm super excited about the shark slit coming out. And then my final knife is the Medford Slim Midi.
Oh, Medford, yes.
And the reason I got that knife was to see if lefties' sweat was that noxious or if there really was a sweaty problem with this getting rust. And I can tell you confidently that I have no issues with rust. I do have issues with not lock stick, but just the thinness of this knife. I've also got a Medford Infraction that's a bigger knife, and it's a full thickness Medford. It's got a lot more room to get inside and open it. But that lock bar does get a little tricky because it's so thin in there. But it's a fantastic knife. Carries great, cuts great, not too heavy. And those are my 5 for 5 for this Monday night.
Very cool. Hey, so first of all, thank you. Those were some tremendous knives. I'm gonna go back to double screen here. You mind sticking around for a little bit longer?
Not a bit.
All right, cool. Very cool. So yeah, Hey, King Pope Caesar, what's going on, my man? The Medford is a very nice knife. Obviously, U.S. made, very good quality control. I mean I agree with Sobex too. Awesome. That's 5 awesome knives that you showed us. So,
thanks, Scotty.
So much. Let's see what else we got going on. King Pope, you got some awesome knives too. You should think about coming and doing my 5 and 5. So I think you might have missed the introduction to what that is. But here's what the 5 and 5 is real quick again for those people who just came in. We got how many people on the stream now? We got 36. Holy crap, that's pretty good. Last week I think we hit 48 or 49.
Hit the like button.
Yeah, hit that like button, exactly. So here's the deal with the 5 and 5. So Jay Evans just finished doing that for me on screen. You don't have to show your face, but you can come on. All you got to do is email me and say, hey, I'd like to do 5 and 5. You just pick 5 knives that you want, any 5 knives. They could be 5 gas station knives. They could be 5 family heirloom knives. Doesn't make any difference. Email me during the week before Tuesday and just say, hey, I would like to do 5 and 5. I'll do more than one of them. I'll do 2 or 3 of them if people want to do that. And it gives you an opportunity to show off knives in your collection like he just did here. I mean, like I said, there's so many awesome knives. And when people do pocket checks, I want to see some of these. And I think some of you guys too do want to see those too. So essentially, that's what it is. It gives you 5 minutes, thereabouts. I'm not going to cut you off, to come on and just do a little show and tell and show us the 5 knives that you want to show off. They could be your 5 newest ones. They could be your 5 favorites. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to show your face. You just have to tell us what the knife is. So again, that's what that is. So very cool. The premiere one of those is done with, and that's cool. I think I'm going to kick into story time next, and we'll save the conversation about the expensive knives versus the more blue collar knives for after that. So I basically am going to tell a casino story tonight. So is everybody ready for story time? I think you are. I find that this is, hold on one second, Emily, kill this little side chat that's happening over here. I think that everybody enjoys this. I'm not going to tell a dad story tonight. I'll save that for another broadcast, but I'm going to tell a casino story. All right, so here we go, folks. Jason Brown in the house. Yes, thank you. Jason Brown is here.
Brother Jason.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so here's the casino story. So I'm going to bigify myself for this while I tell you the tale here. Let's go ahead and get that set up. All right, so yeah, Jason Brown in the house. So here's the deal. For some of you who missed last week's stream, I worked at Mohegan Sun Casino for a long time. I actually worked at 3 casinos. I worked at Foxwoods Resort in Connecticut. I worked at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And then for a very short period of time, I worked for the Mescalero Apaches out in Ruidoso, New Mexico. That was a crazy place. It was like the Wild West. But Mohegan Sun was great. The Mohegan Indians are fantastic. Yeah, Tree Stabbing Troy says, I went to the casino and I lost $20 in 30 minutes at the end. That is correct, sir. It is very easy to do. The secret is to not spend more than you can afford. Anyway, I worked there for a long time. The first roughly 3 years I was there, I was a security supervisor and then a dual rate shift manager. So I have lots of cool casino stories. And then I later went into human resources. Last week, I told the Eddie Money casino story. Everybody really liked that. This week, I'm going to tell what I call the Roadhouse casino story. So here's the Roadhouse casino story. So as a security manager, even back in those days, like I was saying, we had pagers, right? We didn't even have cell phones. But we had pretty good radio systems, and we had the little tiny earpieces that came up and went down your neck. And I had the microphone you could talk into your hand, stuff like that. And I was always dressed in a suit. We look like, what do you want to call it? We look like Secret Service agents when we were dressed up. So, I was in my late 20s to early 30s when I did this job. And I wasn't that far out of the Marine Corps, and I was still pretty buff in those days. But anyway, I get a call from surveillance, And that's the people who man all them thousands of cameras you see in the casinos. And they tell me that there's a problem out at one of the blackjack tables. So they got an intoxicated patron and they go talk to the pit boss. So I walk out there and I talk to the pit boss. That's the guy who's in charge of all the tables in one large group. And he basically says, look, this he's drunk. We're not taking any more of his bets. We've cashed out his chips right there. He's basically, we just want him out of here for the night, but he's really being obnoxious. So what happens is I get called over there and he tells me the story and I go, okay, no problem. So I got two other supervisors standing like 15 yards behind me. And I've got surveillance watching me on camera. And the other supervisors are standing by if we need the police. And we actually had state police, Connecticut State Police in plain clothes that were on site all the time, 24 hours a day, a team of those guys. So anyway, I walk up to this guy and I say, hey, sir, how you doing? And immediately he starts looking me up and down like this. He's kind of sizing me up. I say, hey, listen, I said, the pit boss has decided that, you've played enough for tonight. He's worried about you losing your money and doesn't think, that's a good idea for you to stay. I said, we're not kicking you out of the casino. We're just asking you to go home for the night. And we'd appreciate it if you'd help us out with that. All right. So I always make it seem like, I need them to do us a favor. And this guy, he has a friend with him and they're both drunk, but this guy is really drunk. And he looks at me and he goes, you look pretty tough. He said, I want to fight you. No, this happened to me plenty of times at the casino and in other, walks of life. And so, I've had this happen. So I look at the guy and I look at the table and I look at his chips and I look at him and I go, hey, listen, you see how many chips you got on the table? He goes, yeah. I said, well, listen, I don't fight for free. I'm a professional. I go, so if you want to fight, you're going to need a lot more chips than that. I said, you don't have enough money to fight me. And he goes, I'll fight you, dude. You don't know nothing about me. I was a boxer when I was a kid and all this stuff. And his friend wisely kind of taps him on the shoulder and like turns him and says, hey, listen. He says, you don't know anything about this guy either. And he looks pretty tough. And he goes, I don't care. I'll fight him. I said, well, listen, here's the deal, buddy. I said, we can't fight here on the casino floor. There's people everywhere, right? There's people all over the place. I go, I'm not fighting you here. I go, but you know what? I go, the autumn entrance. I go, we don't use that for very much this time of year. I go, why don't we go outside to the autumn entrance? I said, there's a big, huge concrete slab out there with a covering. I said, there's all the room in the world to fight out there. I said, let's do that. He goes, okay. I go right ahead. So of course, as he's walking, he's doing this. He's throwing punches. He's stretching. He's doing the whole deal. And I'm just walking casually. And his friend turns to him and goes, dude, this guy that you challenged to fight, he doesn't seem too worried. Like he's as cool as a cucumber, man. You sure you want to do this? He goes, oh yeah, I want to do this. Right? Now you got to remember, I'm being watched on camera. I got my other security supervisors walking behind us about, 15 yards, whatever. And to rip his throat out in the end, like Patrick Swayze. I'm getting to that part. So anyway, we walk out the entrance and we get outside. And no sooner do we like crest through the doors and step onto the concrete. And Detective Tim Wetter from the Connecticut State Police steps out from behind the corner. And he's like, hey, how you doing? And the guy goes, I'm okay. And he says to him, hi, I'm Tim Wetter with the Connecticut State Police. You're under arrest for trespassing. And he literally just snaps the cuffs on the guy. And the guy's like, well, what just happened? And he goes, you just got arrested. And his friend says, I told you shouldn't have messed with that dude. I told you shouldn't have messed with that dude. Right. And I'm like, have a nice night, guy. Right. And so what's really funny about that is that kind of shit happened all the time. And that's what we called it the Roadhouse experience. Right. So the best part about the story is that this guy did this on a Saturday evening. So when you get arrested at the casino, it's a Native American ground. It's a reservation. So what they do is they have a special way they process you at the casino, and you're going to holding cell there. And then you go over to the state police barracks on Sunday. So the detective tells him, he goes, plan on being in jail until Monday morning. And because that's how it works. So basically, he spent the rest of the weekend in a cell when he could have just walked. But that's the way it goes, right? So that's my roadhouse story. So what do you think? What do you think, man?
I thought that was great. That's hilarious. Be careful what you wish for, right?
So Papa Rhino said this. My question is, so the moment that he's asked to leave and he refuses to leave, or he wants to be, threatened or become physical, he's trespassing. So if he doesn't want to leave, basically he's trespassing. That's the way it works. Especially the other part of it is that he's on tribal land. So they can do pretty much anything they want to him there. But yeah, if he doesn't want to leave and he wants to fight, all we really want to do is get him away from everybody and then get him out of there. That's the main goal. We don't want to have an altercation on the casino floor, just like in the movie Roadhouse. They don't want to have an altercation in the bar and wreck everything. So it's the same deal. And we were lucky enough to have state police attaches there. Yeah, bait and switch. That's right. That's kind of what it is. It's like the old bait and switch, right? But it's just one of those things. Like, I mean, I really wasn't worried about fighting this guy. He was pretty damn drunk. You know what I mean? He probably would have taken a swing at me and fallen over. So, I'm a Marine. I've been through combat training. I did martial arts when I was younger. We got special training at the casino on how to deal with people. But like I said, I got the state cops right there. So if you want to mess with them, then you can just add some more charges. Thankfully, the guy didn't resist arrest or anything. He didn't even realize he was handcuffed until the trooper started talking to him. So then he's like, what just happened? He's like, you just got arrested. Never go out with the slow entrance with casino security. Yeah, exactly. Never go out the slow entrance. And the other thing too is like when fights do happen out there, it's always their word against ours. Even though we have the camera footage, like we're under no obligation to share that. So whatever happens. Anyway, that's story time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I will have stories every week. Last week I gave you 2. This week I'm giving you 1 because we got other stuff to talk about tonight. So it's good to have you here for this, actually, because you own a lot of knives that are more expensive than knives I own. So I mentioned this last week, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this before we get to fully deployed, which if there's people in this stream right now, right? If there's people in this stream right now and you have not gone over to my YouTube channel and checked out the fully deployed video, which is only 3 minutes. Yeah, please go watch that. All right. Because that's going to be a new thing I do. It's not a knife review. It is knife related. But if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go over and watch it. All right. So just open up my channel in another tab and watch that for 3 minutes while you listen in. So last week I was talking about a topic I wanted to bring up this week when we had a little more time to talk. Knives that are sort of more blue collar priced. And for me, I feel like that's like $200 to $500, right? I feel like that's kind of an acceptable range for some of the higher priced boutique knives and mid-tech knives, things like that. And then you have knives like, and I got a few examples here. I just went to Smoky Mountain Knives Works and just picked out a couple examples, right? So you got knives here that are selling for $5,600, $2,500, right? $1,200, $1,100 and $845. So I'll talk a little bit about these. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because my channel is typically knives from budget to about $250. That's really my sweet spot for buying. Everybody has one, right? You've probably got one. There's probably a price point that you're comfortable spending to. And it's not that you won't spend over that, but it's probably a price point with knives that you prefer to buy in, right? Okay, so everybody's got one of those. Mine is around $250. I remember Shane from Pocket Knife Review, he threw $200 in cash down in one of his videos and said, this is the most I typically want to spend. It's not that I won't spend more, but right? But that's where I am. So here's the thing. So the knife that's $5,600, folks, my line of diminishing returns is around $300. So there you go, right? So there you go. So David Iverson says $300. So some people are already starting to filter in comments. The Marfione Custom SOCOM Elite, that's the $5,600 knife. Okay, $5,600. And here's the specs on this knife. It has M390 blade steel. It is a manually deployed knife. It's a liner lock. It uses 6Al4V titanium, which is fine. That's pretty common. 3.75-inch blade. It has blue anodized screws. And the reason that it's so expensive is because the inlay on the handle contains meteorite fragments. Right?
And it's custom, yeah.
And it's custom. Again, don't get me wrong. I understand this. I'm not bashing anybody for buying a $5,600 knife. Okay? So now if you don't want the meteorite version of that knife, you can get a whopping bargain priced version of the Marfione Custom SOCOM Elite, okay, for $2,595. Okay? No meteorite, okay? And instead of full titanium, you get fat camo dark carbon scales. Other than that, the knife's exactly the same. Okay? So you're basically paying about $3,000 for meteorite fragments inlaid into your handle, and not the whole handle, by the way. Okay? And I'm almost done here. So then I'm gonna move to something a little more that people might understand a little more. So this is called a Schorsch. It's a slip joint. It's black linen micarta. These are all USA made knives, by the way. It's a slip joint. It's $1,200. It comes with CPM 154, and it's got a fancy back spacer or palm swell that's kind of, textured and machined out and what have you to look fancy, right? But that is a $1,200 slip joint, folks, with micarta handles. And they don't look any different, really, honestly, than the micarta handles that are on a Civivi or a Wii or anything like that. And then, I'm moving down a little bit here, but $1,100. Williamson Copenhagen SM Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. G10 handles, titanium frame lock, S30V blade steel. It has a brass beaded lanyard on the back of it that's custom made, and that's $1,150. That's made in Denmark, by the way. And then finally, the Olamic Wayfarer tie Mascus. It's $845. It's basically an M390 tie bladed knife. It is a frame lock, but it has tie Mascus pocket clip and tie Mascus insert in the handle. So this is my thing. Like, I'm just wondering, like, how many people are going to go out and buy four-digit knives, $1,000 and above? And how many of those are you going to buy? And my big question is, are you going to use them? Right? Yeah. Michael Morgan says my Williamson is $85. I have one of those too. I have a Williamson that's like under $100, and it's a great knife. So that's the thing. Yeah, 4 easy payments is $750. Right. Daily Shank says some of these knife makers have lost their damn minds. So go ahead and give me your take on this, or what I'm bringing up.
I really think that there's so much of it that's relative, and I flash back to when I was in Las Vegas, and it's funny enough, through this Johnny Depp trial, and they showed that Bowie knife. I don't know if y'all watched any of that, but Johnny Depp's a big knife guy. Mm-hmm. And, women love jewelry. Men love jewelry, and you can buy a really nice watch for $40 and you can buy a beautiful watch for $12,000. So I think anytime you see on Smoky Mountain Knives or DLT, these custom knives that are dropped, or even Knife Center, they have very few of them. So I think the masses are buying them not often, but I think there's a market of people. I think they're Johnny Depps of the world who really have unlimited income, who really love knives. So they may have a whole lot of very expensive knives, but they're the total exception. But you've probably got people that are making, healthy incomes, Mr. Amazing style. If you think of Jared's guy that, that people love knives of all, whether it's a $30 knife or it's a $15,000 knife. Those people, The way those knives make people feel, I think you can just gravitate. I think there is a law of diminishing returns. For me, my comfort level started out around $40, probably a little over a year ago, maybe closer to when COVID started. But I've slowly built up to a comfort level that I have, and I've noticed that I buy a lot less knives because I become more selective in what I buy. I realized that with all the knives that I bought early on in my collecting, I gift a lot of those knives. I like to pass them on. I don't really want to sell 40, 60, $70 knives, but I also realize that if I don't wait for that knife every day or every other day like I was, in a week or two, I can have that same amount of money put back for a nicer knife. And I'm really in the same place. So I think all of the values have their place. And I think you're going to have good makers. You're going to have the Hobecks of the world that mislead people. And you're going to have the hardworking American companies that produce great knives that are, a lot of people will say, well, that's not a Riot quality knife. And I'll argue that it is in a lot of cases. It's just things are different and different people. I think the market exists for all of us. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yep. And, for me, I think one of my answer to that question is, am I going to use it? Because I until recently, when a few years back, when I really started collecting, as I call it, every knife I bought was a knife that I used. Every knife I bought was a knife that I carried, right? And I can't imagine myself buying a knife that costs $2,500 and then going out and beating the crap out of it every day, using it. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to buy a knife, I'm basically going to use it and put it into play. And I think the other thing for me, and it's a little different because, you might hear some other people that are on here who have channels chime in, but if you have a channel, you got to keep adding knives to the mix all the time, right? You got to have knives to review. So you got to keep buying, and your budget really dictates what other knives you can put in your collection. So for me, my price point is based on, this is what I can afford to save up and spend and still buy knives all the time, to have a channel and to do reviews and to keep putting in content out there. So it's kind of a balancing act. But I'm just curious where people come in. Like Matisfaction says, $23 range is my max. Yeah, so he's talking. So all gas station knives, right, Matt? We know that's a lie, but that's a lie, brother. You're a lie. But anyway, so that's how I came into this, because I got an ad from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and they said, hey, like $2,500 knife, and I'm like, what the hell do they think I'm going to be doing with a $2,500 knife?
Well, there's two ways to look at it, though. It could be something that you've always wanted, so it's a pocket jewelry, which brings you joy, or you could be somebody that lives in the world of $30,000 watches and $20,000 knives, and a $2,500 knife is something you have no problem using because relative to what your income level is, it doesn't seem like that much of a stretch. I still think the person who income is nothing to has more respect for the material and the craftsmanship to beat the hell out of a $2,500 knife, but it's all relative, I think.
Right. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Like, it depends on your income level, and that's why, like, for me, like, I told people in last week's stream, I said, you're going to see knives. I have reviewed knives on my channel from as cheap as $13 all the way up to $220. And that's pretty much going to be the range for my knife reviews. Unless somebody loans me some knives, which that brings me to the next thing. So when we went to $2,500, is there a version of a budget knaf? Yeah, that's true, Jay Friedman, right? So if you have a lot of money and you're buying, Rolexes and and things like that, and Bulivas, and then I guess a $2,500 knife is a budget knife for you. And that's kind of what John is saying, is that it really depends on what your income
ease of replacement, the ease of replacing it. So when I think of a beater knife, I think all of us are enthusiasts. We collect knives. We're always reaching for something right at the top of what we want. So to us, we still use it, but we're looking at them differently, because when I think of a beater, I think of, if I lost this or broke this using it, could I afford to replace it? Would it put me in any kind of hardship? Right. And that's where it really comes down to the term beater for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why before I really got into knife collecting and decided to go into this YouTube stuff, like for years, I bought knives that were around $50, right? I would buy $50 US made Kershaws and stuff like that. And I would just use that knife until I broke it, or if I lost it, or whatever, it didn't matter, because I'm like, I can buy another one for $40 or $50 and keep going. And then eventually I finally bought my first nicer knife, and then I went from there and I started adding more knives to my collection. But I did want to one other quick thing. Matisfaction, this is for you, buddy.
What flavor of nectar's that?
This is Ultra Sunrise Sugar-Free Orange. Yeah. Not made with artificial sweetener, made with erythritol, distilled sugar. Anywho, I wanted to, since these guys were so awesome, so we were just talking about like what you can afford to buy. I wanted to show some of the knives I came back with. So now these are not my knives. These are knives that Cue Ball and Matisfaction were nice enough to loan me. Yes, sirree. So let's start with this. I think everybody will probably recognize that bad boy. That is the Tucson TS-195. And QL has so many Tucsons. And they don't really put their model numbers on the knives, right? So this is what he does. We'll go up there and I flip the knives over on the table. I don't know if you guys can see that. He puts little tags on them that say, oh, it's actually upside down, that say what the knife is, TS-195. So this was and as soon as I picked this up, I was like, yep, gotta own one, right? I had never handled one. I had never actually had one in my hands. And as soon as I picked this knife up, I'm like, yeah, he doesn't want to sell this, but I'm like, I gotta buy one of these. It's gonna have to happen.
Keep your eye on White Mountain Knives. They come into stock there.
Here's another one right here. It's another Tucson. And let's see. I did not see your comments. What else we got here? So I'll check it out. God's review. I'm just trying to see what else we got here. Pick of low tier rough riders. Please go ahead and spend my money. This is another Tucson. This is an older one. I think this is a TS-22. And this knife spoke to me right away. This knife is for sale, by the way. So this is titanium and D2 blade. And I think the reason that this knife, it has this really cool inset here too, on this side, like a pebbled inset. And the reason that this knife spoke to me, because this knife is very much the same size and shape as one of my favorite knives, which is a ZT-0357, which I carried for a long time. I have two of them. I like them so much. Those are assisted. This is a manual open knife. But I mean, man, the machine work on these knives is just ridiculous. Satu Dave was there. He's a machinist by trade, and he pretty much only buys U.S. made knives. So he never handled any Tucson. And there's a whole half a table full of them, and he's picking them up, and he's looking at him. He's like, we couldn't do this. Like, we could do this, but it would cost a ton of money for us to make a knife like this with this kind of machining and all these different setups to make all these different parts. He's like, it would cost a ridiculous amount of money. And I think this knife sold for like $110 or $120 brand new, right?
Tucson is amazing. I mean, and what they're able to do and deliver for the money.
And then, because I never had a chance to handle or review one, I got a chance to borrow one of these, which you just showed. There you go. So Cue Ball has a couple of these. One of them's out on loan, and then there were two there at the house. He let me borrow this one so that I could check it out and review it. I already can tell I'm going to buy one of these. Like, I don't even have to carry this thing that long. Like, I messed with this thing for one day, and you know what I mean?
They're fantastic. You won't.
I gotta have them basically. I mean, for me, as a micro pocket carry knife, like the ergonomics on this thing are fantastic. So again, this is a knife I'll be reviewing pretty soon, but I love it. This is the Nimble's a really, really cool knife, and they're coming out of the liner lock.
Yep.
And Matty was saying Matty has a nice one. He has a black and green one. It looks like a Monster Energy can, right? That's exactly what I thought when he pulled it out. He has a black one with green highlights. I told him, I said, hey, if you ever want to, get rid of that so you can buy the XL one that they're planning, let me know. And then,
a Tanto. They're coming out with the Tanto.
They are
with a different type of micarta.
5.5
pattern.
Yep. This is the 5.5 in titanium And look at the milling on these scales. Look at that.
That's just the fan pattern. They call it
Yep.
sunset. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, that thing just looks sweet. So again, and this is what I was talking about. So having these knives on loan to carry and to review, that is helpful for me as a small channel because I don't have to go out and buy extra knives to review. Now that gives me a little bit of a buffer now for the next, I think I brought back 7 knives altogether, but it gives me a little bit of a buffer, and that way I can, carry some other knives. I also got a petrified fish. I got this bad boy, which is the 940-1 in S90V in carbon fiber. This knife I think I'm going to end up buying.
Fantastic knife.
Because I have the 940-2, which I've used so much, I think I've worn the texturing off the G10, and I've always wanted to check one of these out and have an S90V blade. So this is a cool knife too. I'm definitely, yep, there you go. That is the same knife, right? So this was another loaner knife, but it's one I think I'm going to purchase because he's willing to move it. So anyway, again, huge shout out to Matt and to Cue Ball because they loaned me some knives, which was fantastic. I had a blast up there. The other thing is I was talking about checking out knives. So here's something you can't do online, and you can do it in a knife shop. But again, you've got to have the time to go through a lot of knives. So a lot of people like the petrified fish, the 949X, which is the Warrior. It's the slightly smaller 949. And I thought that's the knife I wanted too. But then I got up there and I actually handled a 949 full size. And guess what? This is the knife I want. I don't want the X. Because here I am with my large glove size hands. And guess what? This knife fits perfect. It's perfect.
Yes. Size charts and pictures in magazines do not give you that same level of feel and confidence. That's why if you ever just hit me up on Instagram, anything you want to borrow, I'm happy to send it your way, and it'll save us all from buying knives that don't necessarily fit.
So, and here's the thing, like there's a lot of knives like that Cue Ball bought that, that they didn't fit his hand. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have small knives too, but him and Matt, and believe it or not, Statue Dave is like smaller than I am, and he has like big, huge hands. Like he even said, my hands are disproportionate to the rest of my body, right? But the guy has big hands, and that's why he likes really big knives. But like me, I just have a standard large glove size hand, and I picked this knife up right away, and I was like, wow, that feels great. I would not want this knife to be any smaller than this. But the only way to know that is to actually handle one. So that's the great thing about doing knife meetups too, is that you get to handle a lot of stuff. There was some stuff I was really high on, and then I put it in my hand for the first time and I went, nope. I knew right away, right? You pick up a knife, you flick it open, you put it in your hand, you feel it, and you go, no, that's not what I thought it was. So that was really, really helpful to be able to actually put my hands on some knives and see what was going on with them.
That's why I'm really excited to go to Blade Show, mainly to meet the people that I'm going to get to meet or have a chance to meet. But just to be able to handle things, it'll keep me from buying so many things that wouldn't necessarily be a match for me. But right. I've even got a list of like seven things that I want to check off, either by putting them on the permanent I'm going to get them list, or say, I'm sure glad I got to put this in my hand and feel it before, making a mistake.
Right.
For me.
Exactly. So, so that was a big plus. I mean, like I said, being able to see all those knives at the same time. And honestly, it was overwhelming. Even Dave was like, I was overwhelmed. He's like, because I couldn't really, it was hard to take in that many knives. I mean, we spent like almost 4 hours looking at knives, and it went by in like a flash. Like the next thing you know, like boom, we were done. So I got a couple other things I want to talk about. So first of all, Forrest SLR, Forrest Hanks, I want to shout him out. So Forrest did me a really big solid. He's got an embroidery machine that he bought, very expensive, him and his family purchased. And I had told him that I wanted to replace just sticker decals on my knife reviews. and I wanted to basically do something embroidered. So I just asked him if he could do it, and he said, send me a file. And so he sent me back a piece of fabric with 2 embroidered logos to use for
Very
my knife.
nice.
And now these are just fabric. Mrs. Edge actually made, my wife, she actually took the fabric, cut it, and finished it and made 2 handkerchiefs out of it. But I'm going to start using these now for my knife reviews. I'm going to lay these down on the table instead of having like a decal, a sticker up there in the corner. I'm just going to lay these down, and then I can use them to wipe off knives and stuff too when I'm done. But big shout out to Forrest. He charged me virtually nothing. I don't want to say he gave them to me, but he charged me virtually nothing. I kind of wish, I kind of was like, dang, that's what you want for him? And he's like, yep. So
I've been following the work he's been doing on his Instagram page with that new machine, and it is mind blowing the accuracy with his stitching is. I mean, that's true craftsmanship.
Yeah, I mean, these are beautiful. These logos look fantastic, and it's exactly what I wanted. So big shout out to Forrest for that. That's going to be awesome. It's going to make my videos look 100% better. So I wanted to talk real quick about fully deployed. So I think probably most of you folks in the channel have seen the video, and I've been throwing that idea around for a while. How that all came about is kind of an interesting story. So I was sitting there one day and I had the Benchmade Griptilian in my hand, and I pulled out another knife, and I basically was like, I was looking at it and I was like having a conversation in my mind, about the knife. And then I turned to the other knife, and I don't know why, but like I gave it a voice for just a second. And then I realized I was actually holding 2 knives and talking to them. And I was like, this could be a good idea. I could do something with this. So then I went through my collection and I looked at some knives, and I decided to keep the first one and call it Ben, right, for Benchmade. And it's got a blue hat and it's got a goatee, and it could be Zach, could be me, right? But then the second one, I wanted something a little different. So I chose the Kershaw Link because obviously I could use that name, right? And then I chose to give it a different kind of character. But I have a lot of other ideas. There'll be other knives that I'm going to use. There'll be other appearances. My wife has helped a lot with props, little props for the things. So that was just that first video was just kind of to introduce the 2 main characters, kind of like a Beavis and Butthead type of thing, right? And that's how it happened. So, but I was like, nobody's doing this, and I wanted to do something on my channel that was fun, that people could just tune into like once a week or once every other week when I do it. I'm not sure whether it's going to be weekly or bi-weekly. And I wanted to give people the opportunity to kind of laugh at knife stuff, because it's going to all be knife related. And that's really how it happened. That's how I got the idea.
Well done.
Yeah.
Brother Bear.
Who else we got in here that I missed tonight?
Grateful Panic.
Patina Turner, what's up? How you doing? Jay and Ninja, what's going on? Grateful Panic's in there. Yep, awesome. Probably can't get no. What is it? I'm trying to see. I think that the chat, because there's always that delay, 15 or 20 seconds. I think the chat is just starting to catch up now. So David Iverson says that was a fun video. Yeah. So a bunch of bigger channels actually chimed in. I got some comments from Lefty EDC. I got comments from Jared Neves. He really loved it. Big Red EDC shared it over to his community tab. And well, hang up on sorry. And oh, never mind. The Last Ranger. So anyway, so if you folks are wondering, that will be a regular series. It's either going to be once a week or bi-weekly. I'm not sure yet. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm glad that the response was really good to it. I got like 200 views on that video since yesterday. So like obviously people watched it. There's Grumpy Grunt. What's going on, buddy? I'm gonna jump Grumpy in here real quick for a second. I'm gonna pop you a link.
Jump out?
No, you're good. You can stay. I'm going to pop you a link here, Grumpy. Hold on. All right, there you go. There should be a link in there. So while I'm waiting for Grumpy to come on, yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about fully deployed. Like I said, I've got other characters already created. Will got other props. I don't know if Tri-State's still in the channel, but he might make an appearance somehow. Maddie will probably make an appearance. Grumpy, who's coming into the stream, he'll probably be making an appearance. So, just keep your eyes peeled. I think you'll see a lot of cameos by people who have knife channels and are in the knife community. And I'm just going to keep them all to like 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. So, Winchester, what's up, my man? All right. So what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? I did story time. I wanted to talk about the 250 giveaway, and I promised everyone that I would give them a sneak peek at the knife I will be reviewing this Friday. So that knife is the Hogue K320.
Nice knife.
Yep. So I held off reviewing this because Grumpy reviewed this same knife the same day that I was about to do it, and then the very next week he reviewed the next knife that was on my list to review. So I changed up my reviews. But yeah, so this is going to be the knife that I'm going to review. I've had this a while. I've got a bunch of Hogue knives, and I got some good things to talk about this knife. So that'll drop on Friday as always. My reviews always come out on Fridays. What's up, Mateo? Why did that not come out?
Mateo.
There we go. Mateo. And if you are into jerky, shout out to Mateo. Go ahead and try some. That's right. Try some of his M-Bomb jerky, folks. So real quick, I just want one more quick shout out to my mods, Gonzo Reviews, and to Michael Morgan, Mimo. Mimo, like I said, is taken over as the second moderator. I'm also looking for possibly a third mod. So if you're on the channel tonight and you think you might want to be a moderator for me, the third mod will kind of be like a fill-in person. You can come in and have your wrench if you're here, but if somebody else can't make it, or somebody's got to take their wife out to dinner or sick or whatever, I really like to have a couple backups. So if you're interested in modding for me, it should be pretty easy because you can see I get about 30, 40 people in here right now a week. Drop me an email, eionansedge@gmail.com. What else did I want to show you guys? I wanted to talk about the 250 giveaway. Haha, right? So what am I at right now? I am at 241 subs. 9. I need 9 subs, folks. So I'm going to actually have the rest of the giveaway stuff by this weekend, and I'm going to put up a video, and here's how this is going to work. I still haven't seen Grumpy, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I will repost that link, Grumpy, if you want to come in. If not, I promise I'll get you on next week. So here's the deal with the 250 sub giveaway. I'm going to do 2 giveaways. I'm going to do 2 like I did on the 100 sub giveaway, but I'm going to reverse the way that I do this a little bit. So last time I gave out like a consolation prize for the people that were in the live stream. I'm not doing that this time. So I feel like you folks that are here in the live stream every week, you're the people that are really supporting the channel. I did get a bump in subs from the 100 sub giveaway stuff, but I'm not really as worried about the subs as I am about just growing the channel organically and having people watch my reviews and like what we do. So I'm going to switch it up this time. So the video giveaway is going to be the smaller of the 2 giveaways, right? So the video giveaway, I'm going to do swag and decals. Here's Grumpy. Let me get him in here. There we go. What's up, my man?
Not a whole lot. Trying to turn on my audio and everything. Get it square.
Good to see you.
My shit is not right.
Good to see you, brother.
Hey, we'll get it. We'll figure it out. Hopefully it's not echoing or anything.
Yeah.
Good.
So hey, I'll ask you real quick. What did you think of Fully Deployed?
What did I think of what?
Yeah, Fully Deployed. Did you get to watch it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I've been running all day, so
Okay. Cool. That's all right. You gotta check
been
it out,
home for
man.
about 2 hours and spent a lot of that talking with somebody. So
3 minutes when you get a chance.
Okay.
So anyway, so yeah, so the first giveaway, the video one, is going to be done like the last one. It's going to be a video where you have to like it, you have to be subscribed, and you have to leave a comment. I'll explain all that. But what I'm going to be doing on that is I got a lot of swag now, so I'm going to be giving away some decals and some miscellaneous stuff. And then Mrs. Edge has made logoed hanks. Okay, we're not selling those. You got to win one, or I got to give you one for being an awesome person. And a few of you folks have already got those from me, and a couple of people have got a chance to win them, like Tristab and Troy. Mrs. Edge was like, I want to give him a hank. There wasn't one in the giveaway. He likes green, so she made him a green hank, and we got it in the box before the giveaway went out. So again, big shout out to my wife. She's very talented and very big-hearted, and she took care of that. So
does an amazing job.
Yeah, she does an amazing job on those. They're just incredible. So there will be a knife hank in the giveaway, and the giveaway knife for the first one will be an Ontario Rat 1. I had another knife in mind, but it's on back order, so I went with that. That was my second choice. But it's a cool knife, and I'll be giving that away online. So all you got to do when the giveaway video hits is just make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment, hit the like button, and you'll be in. You'll have a chance to win that stuff. The live stream giveaway is going to be bigger. I'm going to have a whole bunch more swag, a whole bunch more little doodad items in there. I'm going to be giving away an Olight i2R2, like the one that I showed tonight in my pocket check. These little buggers here, right? Cool little light. Mrs. Edge Hanks will be included in that. There will be a QSP Hawk 14C28N steel with the sky blue micarta. That is going to be the main giveaway knife. He's got a hawk there. Yep, he's got he's got the lava looking one. I love it. But that knife with the sky blue micarta that Grumpy just showed, that's going to be the knife that's going to be included as the main knife.
This micarta.
Yep, there you go. On that knife, exactly. I'm also going to be giving away a knife roll that holds 19 knives, technically 21, depending on how big your knives are. And I will be giving away one of Mrs. Edge's chainmail fidget balls, which you guys saw in the giveaway I did last week. If I have a color you want, I'll send you that color. If I don't, you'll have to take what I got. But I do have quite a few of those to give away. And there will be a second knife in that giveaway, but that's a surprise. That's a secret. So there will be so there'll be 2 knives in the main giveaway. There'll be 1 knife in the video giveaway. So technically, you'll have 2 chances to win. Possibly, you can win 2 knives. So I think that's pretty good for a 250 giveaway, and I think you'll really like it. Some of the little swag items I'm not going to tell you what they are, but there's some really cool little things I'm throwing in there. Some channels have sent me stuff. And there's some stuff I won that's really cool that I'm just going to pay forward to the community. I could use it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pay it forward to everybody. So
be awesome.
Was this last Ranger says Mrs. Edge peeking around the bat? No, I don't think so. Not unless you saw a head pop out over here. I don't think she would. She doesn't really like to be on camera. So, but she's a big part of my channel for sure. So like I said, Grumpy, the meetup was freaking fantastic. And we, what I was telling John here was that we handled so many knives. Like I didn't realize there was knives I thought I liked and I thought I wanted, and then I held them and I went, not so much. And then there were other knives that I didn't even realize that were on my radar, and I picked them up and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I thought that I wanted a 949X, the smaller version of this knife. And then I held this 949 full size and I went, nope, I want this one. You know what I mean? So it was very
the Warrior.
The Warrior is the small one. This is the full size. This is the
I thought they were the Warrior and the Mini Warrior or something like that.
Yeah, the X I think they call the Warrior. But anyway, this is the larger of the 2. This was another one that Q-Ball loaned to me. So he loaned me out a whole bunch of knives to review, and again, big shout out to him. And this is why I love the community so much. He's just like, I want you to take a bunch of knives with you. Take some knives that you want to review, and it'll help you out. It'll help the channel. You won't have to buy as many knives over the next, few weeks or whatever. And, you can, take a little more time to put reviews together. But I did take a couple knives that I wanted to buy. Like he had some knives there that I wanted, and he's like, I'm going to sell these. So I took those too. And I probably will end up picking up a couple of those. So it was a
Nice.
good time. Yeah. I mean, this community is fantastic.
Well, that's huge. That's what I try and pour, when I do my gratitude video for Terry or Sobex or something like that. It's huge that people let us, just handle a knife here and there that we think we want, or like you said, that's never been on our radar.
Right.
And you get to handle that, and you're like, okay, so even though that handle looks like this or that blade looks like that, you find out that it really does work for you, or something that you thought you loved doesn't. Yeah. Like the F5.5 for me, right? Me
right.
and
well, that's one of the
will have that ongoing tete-a-tete.
Right.
But
yeah, well, I got loaned one of those too. I just showed it on camera a few minutes ago right here. It's the Thai fan patterned one.
Yeah,
right. Beautiful knife. So I just haven't had a chance to handle it yet. And I got
beautiful. I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
And then I handled one, and I'm like, this would not have worked for me. And it's exactly. Not that I hate the knife; it's that it causes such self-loathing for me that I wanted to go out and chase a $300 knife that I really couldn't afford. That in the end, because I never had gotten a chance to put my hands on it, if I would have gone ahead and bought it, it would have inflicted such buyer's remorse on me, and I would have just been miserable because I could have spent that money on a shaman or something else that I now know that I would love, right?
Yeah. No,
so that's why that was huge for me, was holding that, checking out a Benchmade bug out and a mini bug out and all of that. Even though I may not still want a bug out, I have infinitely more respect for the quality that's in a bug out, because compared to that original Grivery version, I just didn't like the entire brand because of that knife.
You're right. And I speaking of that, I brought the one that I just reviewed last week with the applied weapons technology aluminum scales. I brought that to the meetup, and everybody agreed that completely changed that knife. Like it made that knife a completely different knife. All three of the other guys agreed that knife actually felt more expensive than Cue Ball had the M390 carbon fiber version of the bug out, the top of the line one there. And he's like, this is a better knife than this, even though the blade steel is better on that M390 version. He's like, this feels like a more expensive knife. It feels like a knife I would pay good money for.
Right.
Those applied weapons technology scales are amazing. I've got them on Thomas.
Yeah, no, I mean, they make a bunch of them. They make bug out, mini bug out, Griptilian Domus. They make a whole bunch of different ones, and their stuff is just perfect. And it fits perfectly into place. There were no fitment issues. You just take the knife apart, put the scales on, put it back together. It took like 20 minutes, and I just assembled the whole knife. I probably could have got away with one scale at a time if I really wanted to, but I just took the whole knife apart and checked it out and put it back together. Forrest, I just shouted you out, brother. Hey, check it out, Forrest. Guess what Mrs. Edge already put together? Huh? Forrest sent me a fabric with 2 embroidered logos on it for my videos. And Mrs. Edge took that fabric and cut it up and made me a couple of really nice place hanks for doing my reviews. So, yeah, let's see. Laura Gillespie, she's got a good comment right here. She said, it's too bad there's not a try before you buy for knives like Amazon has for clothing. It's true. It's true.
There is, but White Mountain Knives charges you a little bit to restock.
Yeah, they charge you restocking, yeah. But it's true, and that's the big advantage of being able to hold all those knives in your hand all the time. You get to hold them in your hand at a meetup, and everybody brings some knives, and you get to try all these different knives. I did not realize, I should have realized, but I did not realize how big the XM24 Hinder was. Like Statue Dave brought a bunch of knives, and one of the knives was that one, and I literally held that in my hand. I'm like, holy crap. Now, that's not a big knife for him or somebody like Cue Ball or even Matt necessarily, but for me, that's a big knife. Like that feels like that's like a stick, you know what I mean? And that isn't even the biggest knife he had. But I'm just saying, like that made me realize I don't ever need that knife, because I actually got the chance to hold it. And that'll be the cool thing about Blade Show, although some of you guys are probably going to mortgage your houses at Blade Show. You're gonna go in there and go, I'm only spending $800, and the credit card will be maxed out by the end of the weekend. So anyway, wait, you took a second. I just used the hammer and made the scales fit. Yeah, no, I don't use any hammers. But anyway, folks, we're getting down there to the point in time where Tri-State is going to be starting up here in a few minutes. So I am not doing a giveaway tonight, but just a quick reminder to everyone. I just talked about the 250 sub giveaway. I'm at like 241. So I only need 9 subs. Honestly, that shouldn't be that hard to get. I will have the rest of the knives and the rest of the merchandise for the giveaways by this weekend. I will post a video as soon as I have all the stuff. So maybe, very possibly, right? Next week, we might be giving away some stuff. And that would be really cool if we end up doing that. And Grumpy, thanks. I know you had a long day and everything, but I'm really glad that you were able to make it on.
Just, hello, kitty.
Yeah. You just got photobombed.
I'm going to knock everything off. I'm about to make your life hell. And I was like, no, you're not. She almost won.
No, I haven't had. Yeah, although there was one of those there yesterday, I just didn't get to it, man. No, I mean Saturday, I just didn't get to it. Also, I wanted to mention this before we sign up. So Byron had asked about future guests, and he had said, "Oh, don't you know the guy that's a family friend of yours who's a knife maker and has been on Arizona Knives?" Yes, Richard S. Wright is a friend of mine. I have been in touch with him. I haven't asked him to be on the show yet, but he is supposed to be looking at possibly sending me a knife or two to loan and review. And then I'm going to see about possibly getting him on the show. I think the issue with that, I did mention that I have that I was starting a live stream, and I think the issue there might be scheduling. It might be finding a week or whatever where he's available at the right time frame that I'm on air. But I do plan on having him on. We have had a very, very tiny brief conversation about that, and it looks like that is a very strong possibility that I will get somebody who's an award-winning knife maker onto this live cast. Not only that, but he has an interesting background because he was a gunsmith first. He's a welder, a very accomplished machinist, and then he was a pistol smith, and then he got into making knives. So, and one of his designs is like he created it, like opening deployment mechanism. He actually created it, like him and another guy co-designed it. So he's a really smart guy. Hey, Brent, what's going on? He's a really smart guy. And if I can get him on here sometime between now and the fall or whatever, I'm definitely going to do that. I think you guys would really enjoy hearing him talk. And he's super, super brilliant. And he knows a lot about knives and machining and forging and all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely going to work on that. What else we got? Anything else, folks? I think that's it. There is no giveaway this week, like I said. So I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to make some dinner, and then I'm going to jump over and check out some of Tri-State's live stream. But again, thank you to my 2 guests. Thank you, Jay Evans.
Sorry I was late, brother.
Thank you, Grumpy, for making an appearance. Much appreciated. And Freak Show, if you're still in the stream, get a hold of me. You said you would do the 5 and 5 knife review next week. I want to have you do that. So get a hold of me. And if there's anybody else here that wants to do the 5 and 5 and show off your knives, just email me at eionansedge@gmail.com. All right, that's all there is, folks, for this week. Have a great night. Thanks for spending your time with me. Thank you to my 2 guests. You guys are all the best. Yes, Freak Show, get a hold of me. All right, I will see you later. Good night, folks.
Love all you guys.
See you, everyone.
And this is where we look at the camera. Forget